Hi there, my name is Cindy and welcome to Snacks and Stacks. I'd like to talk about books, TV shows, and movies, and today we're going to talk about my favorite non-fantasy books and TV shows from January, February, and March of 2025. I have another video where I covered all my favorite fantasy and slightly sci-fi movies, TV shows, and books. And I'll link it in the description or in the little card here if you are more interested in that genre. That is probably one of my favorite genres and one that I read the most, but I'm noticing that this year I am branching off and trying a lot of different things, and so I just kind of want to separate them out. Let's see, I think we should start with the only nonfiction on here, and that would be James Baldwin, The Fire Next Time. This is a very short book, and it consists of 2 essays from James Baldwin and his experience as an African American in America in the year of, I want to say the 60s. Yeah. So it was first published in 1962, 1963. And the very first essay, I actually listened to this book, and the very first essay is a letter to his nephew. And after listening to that letter, I really wanted to purchase this just because I found parts of it to be just so, I was at a loss for words as I am now, but it's just so good. The way that James Baldwin writes, at least in this book, made me feel, I don't know how to explain it, but it made me feel so good. And I love the way that he can talk about such hard issues and such hard things and make you feel from your heart. Does that make sense? And then the second essay combines religion and his experience. And I do understand that he is also a gay man, or was a gay man, and there was just a lot. And so I don't want to there's not too much to give away, but I do think that he talks about his books much better than I do. I really recommend it. The audiobook was also great. I really love that it was intelligent but approachable, because sometimes I'll read things and I'll feel like I'm too dumb to understand what they're talking about. But in this instance, I never felt that way. I have another book that by him that is on my TBR, but I can't remember what it's called. So I'd like to try more books by James Baldwin and see if I just really love this book or if it's just his writing in general. So after that, let's talk about 2 TV shows that I really enjoyed. Both of these are on Netflix, and both of them are more kind of episodic, maybe sitcom-y type of fun shows. One is called A Man on the Inside. It is a super fun show where we have a retired professor who I watched it a long time ago, so I can't remember if he was just recently widowed or not, but he gets kind of interviewed and contracted to become an inside man in a retirement home for a private detective who's trying to figure out who stole this necklace of their clients. The actors in this was great. I love the themes of friendship and also the father-daughter relationship in this, and I really enjoyed just all the things that he went through. And in this series that also talks a lot about dementia and Alzheimer's, and being someone who has that in her family and have had to deal with a grandma who, unfortunately had that. It was very touching, very funny, very heartwarming, and it was just a fantastic time. My husband and I actually binge watched this all in one night. It was that good to us. Next, we have this TV show called Running Point. I am not a big sports fan. I can care less about sports, but I do like from time to time like sport movies or hearing about sports. And I saw that it was Kate Hudson and Brenda Song, and I was like, why not? I just wanted something to play in the background as I think I was doing something, but I didn't expect to have so much fun. It's very dramatic and it's very kind of silly, but yeah, it's loosely based on Jeannie Buss, who is a female owner of, I think, the Lakers. And so we have Kate Hudson, who becomes the owner of this family business, and the family business is a basketball team. Now, I know nothing about sports, as I have already said, but it was interesting to kind of watch and perhaps learn what it's like or the things you have to do when you own a basketball team. I'm sure it's dramatized, but I just didn't know all that went into it, and watching a female in a male-dominated field is always interesting for me, and it's always fun. So I really enjoyed that. And then, of course, Schmitty is in this as Kate Hudson's fiance, and so it was fun to see a familiar face. If you don't know who Schmidt is, he's a character from New Girl, and it was kind of odd to see. I think his real name is Max Greenfield. I'll put it up here. It was interesting to see him play like a doting fiance, because all I can see is him as Schmidt. But yeah, it was really nice, and it was a nice break from like some of the heavier topics that I was also reading and listening to. So yeah, I highly suggest that if you just need a break, something fun for the spring, those two shows, so much fun. I would say the first show wraps up, and I think they might have a second season, but the second show, Running Point, it definitely leaves on a bit of a cliffhanger. I think I saw that there is a season 2 coming out, so. All right. Now, this book did not quite hit my favorites, but if you've never read it, I think it would be cool for you to try it. It's called There by Tommy Orange. This is my honorable mention. I didn't rate this for months because I wasn't sure what to rate it as. And at one point it was rated a 4. And then I thought, actually, I don't think it's for me. It's mostly the writing style. It is very literary fiction. It goes into many perspectives, and each perspective is slightly different. And that makes it a very difficult reading experience. I'm so sorry. I need to probably put my phone on silent. So yeah, the multiple POVs is one thing that as a fantasy reader, I'm pretty much used to, but it was multiple POVs, multiple perspectives, multiple writing styles. At one point, it was like stream of consciousness, and I did this all on audio, and it was very hard. And even when I tried to get the book from the library and immersive read, I don't think I quite understood. I had to look up a character map, and honestly, this book I think would have been a ton of fun to read as a student in a classroom environment where I talked about it with a teacher. Yes, I was a nerd who read every assigned book because I liked that so much. But reading it on my own without anyone to talk to or dissect or help me figure things out, it was extremely difficult, I think, to have like an enjoyable time. And I hate to say that, but if you're smarter than me or you're more patient and you like multiple POVs and a pretty, unique book, in my opinion, I'm sure it's not unique in literary fiction, but I don't read a lot that's like this. It's There by Tommy Orange. Oh, what is it about? I'm such a goof. Sorry. It is about a bunch of different Native American perspectives. I believe they live in California, and all of this is leading up to a powwow. And I can't really say much about their perspectives, but they're all sort of related. And yeah, we're all going on this journey. and it's all building up to this one event. And I probably can say that it's very bittersweet and quite sad. Alrighty, so now onto the books that I loved. And the first one is The Things We Cannot Say by Kelly Rimmer. I listened to this on audio. It is a World War II historical fiction, and I normally gravitate away from those because I find them to be a lot of the same. However, if I can find one that has something that's a little bit more interesting, I will go for it. And also the 52 book challenge, one of them was this time period. So I went into this knowing I wanted to check this off. And also Chelsea from Library and Latte said this was a great audiobook. So I got it from the library, and it was very good. I liked that it was slightly different because we are following two people, one in more present day and one back in the 1940s in Poland. And that perspective was already a little bit different, on top of this like hidden mystery that was going on in there. But what I really loved was the contemporary today timeline. Alice is her name. She was a mother to an autistic child, and because she wanted to take care of him, she had to basically give up her journalistic dreams, or she's put it on hold. And with this background in journalism, her grandmother asked her to go to Poland to find something for her. Unfortunately, at this time, her grandmother had just gotten a stroke. Is that how you say it? Had just survived a stroke, just went through a stroke. What is the right terminology? Unfortunately, at this time, her grandmother is in the hospital and actually can't speak normally. And luckily, they have an iPad that the autistic son uses. And so she like points to certain words and basically asks Alex to go to Poland. And yeah, it's about that story and how those two timelines interweave. And within that, we have two love stories, one in the past and her current love story of Alice with her current husband, who has always seemed to be a little bit more hesitant to kind of like do the things that she thinks is right for their autistic son. I felt their relationship was very realistic and understandable, and I really liked that little bit of tension and also how they solve their problems as a married couple. I really liked both characters and both POVs, although I think the one in the past had I was a little bit like, with at points, but I did love them, and I think that it was really refreshing to see the uncovering of like a family's history. When she goes to Poland, she basically joins with a translator that like their whole business is to help people find out more about their family's history. And I wouldn't say that it inspired me to exactly, but it put a little fire under my butt to maybe learn more about my own family's history. I know that there's probably a lot of stories there. And just like Alice's grandma, who's very quiet about their past and kind of kept secrets, I find that with my parents as well. They just didn't really talk about their past a lot. And I think it would be interesting to learn more about how they came to America and stuff. So I would say that it kind of felt relatable in that way. All right. I have this one, Vera Wong. And Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jessie Q. Sutano. This is the same author that wrote Dial A for Aunties. So if you like that book, I highly suggest you try out this one. Vera Wong is an older, I think she's supposed to be Chinese woman. Was she? Oh no, I'm so bad. Yes, Vera Wong is an older Chinese lady and she owns a tea shop. She's very nosy. She watches all the cop shows. And of course, one day there's a dead body in her tea shop. She does really funny things. Anyways, I found this book to be so much fun. The same with Dial A for Aunties. I think Jessie Q. Sutano has she's just so good at writing these older Asian characters for me. I know not everybody would probably enjoy them, but it's like a caricature of what my mom is, I swear to God. So my mom and my aunties, they act like this. There's not precisely, but I can just picture it. And it's a hoot, but it's also like comes from a very caring place, but it's a place of very stubborn, like old way thinking that I think is what is so heartwarming for me for this book. I thought it was a lot of fun. I actually listened to this book and would read it from time to time, but mostly I was listening to this at work. And it was just so much fun. I'm so glad that I was able to read it as an audiobook because I could just like do all the things I need to do and consume this story. It actually kickstarted more cozy mysteries, but none has been as much fun as this one. I love and cherish this book, is what I said. I really do cherish this. As a daughter to a Chinese Vietnamese woman, my mom is not quite like this, but I see it. I so see it. And I think that the hijinks were a lot of fun. I loved how the case unfolded and how the suspects all got together. And yeah, there is a bit of found family in this as well that I thought was very sweet. And there's also like a sense of your parents are getting older and they miss you, and that is also in this book a little bit because she has a son that she contacts a lot as well. So it was very endearing. I highly recommend this for people who are a fan of cozy mysteries, and also if you know any like kind of just silly, crazy, kind of stubborn aunties or moms in your life and you want to read about them in a perhaps relatable way, I would recommend. I think the last three are all romance books. My storygraph app says that I have read more contemporary than any other genre, which I need to fix because I don't normally do that. But I did read 3 really great romance books this time around. I keep hesitating on saying the word quarter because then I think I'm at work, and I'm also looking at my work desk and that just gives me bad vibes. I'm just like, just like, oh, corporate work. All right, I'm getting unhinged. Let's get this over with. Let's get this done. Okay, the Rom-Commers. This was very enjoyable, but I didn't love the main guy character as much. Let me just tell you the plot before I get into this. I did love it, but not necessarily for the characters, which I think for a romance kind of sucks. But okay, let me rewind. This book is about Emma, who wants to be a screenwriter, but she had put her plans on hold to help take care of her father after an accident. In this crazy once-in-a-lifetime chance, an opportunity comes where she can write with her favorite screenwriter a rom-com, which is like her specialty. And so luckily, also her sister has just graduated college, and so they can kind of switch places, and her sister can watch her dad while she flies to California to work with this guy on this romantic comedy script. Now, just because that's what she was told, things don't go as planned. We're just going to say that. This was all in Emma's perspective, and it was all in first person. I gave this book a 4, but I will say one of my favorite characters is actually Emma's dad. I did like Emma. I thought Emma was quite relatable. And as a person who I wasn't necessarily a caretaker, but my dad was actually in the hospital for a long time, and I would have to drive up from college to see him a lot. I kind of related a lot to just the like worry and the amount of concern that one has when they're trying to keep someone alive. I found a lot of things in common with Emma as a character, and I love rom-coms. I absolutely love rom-coms, and that's what I loved about this. It gives off 2000s rom-com vibes. It gives off like, will the couple need therapy? Yes. But it was cute. I think that the main male character didn't work as well for me, honestly, because there's just some things about him that I find to be major red flags. I don't like when people talk poorly of their partners. When I find out that people, like when people talk shitty about their partners to their friends, I'm like, it gives me a little bit of an ick. There's one thing where it's like, oh my God, we had a fight and it was so awful and blah, blah, blah. Or it's like, oh, you know, but like consistently he undermines her consistently. The plot is a little silly and unrealistic, but I think that's what you can love about rom-coms. So this is a great book for those who likes rom-coms. I think if you grew up watching rom-coms in the 2000s, you would also really like the vibes. And this cover is like so freaking bright. It's just ridiculous. I will say there was this one quote that I really liked, and it was from the dad, because I just love, I think if there's a good dad in a book, just like a history about me, my dad died when I was 20 years old, after being in the hospital and all that stuff. So I am very sappy and easily persuaded if there's a good dad in a book. Like, I love my dad. My dad was my favorite person in the world. Probably is still my favorite person in the world. And yeah, if there's a good dad in a book, I will talk about it. But he basically talks about how he continues to be so positive even after his accident and everything. And he said, I decided that if I just held on, things would get better. I wasn't sure how much better, but better. And when you've seen worse, better is good enough. I don't know. That was just really nice. The other two books that I thought were great in the first quarter and romance was Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This was an audiobook that I listened to. It was dual perspective and first person for both. The plot is that Justin has gone viral on Reddit. This like thread that basically is like, am I the asshole? And he poses a question, and in that thread he basically says that every time he dates somebody, the next person that person dates finds the one. It's kind of like Good Luck Chuck. And Emma reads this and decides to message him and is like, hey, I'm the same way. And so they decide in this like weird thing that maybe if they dated one another, the next person that each other finds is their ones, right? But of course it's them. And so Emma is a traveling nurse, so she decides to try to go to his city and try this thing out just for the summer. It was so cute. This was a very cute book. I gave it 5 stars. I really liked the plot and how things moved along. I loved both characters individually and together. I loved the process of their relationship, for lack of a better word. And yeah, I thought it was done so well. It was so cute. I liked the areas of conflict. I thought everything made a lot of sense. Couple with chef's kiss. I wrote nothing but nice things. Yeah, I really liked it. I really, really liked it. I think of the 3 in this series, I still liked the couple in book 2, Yours Truly, more, just because I think their personalities were like really big on the page, and like really liked, I forgot his name already. I really liked them, but I don't remember their name. The male character in the second book, his anxiety was just nice to read about and relatable in a way, and so I found it to be funnier than this third one, but I really liked both of these characters a lot. And I really liked the plot more in Just for the Summer as well. Last but not least, one of my favorite romance books that I read is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. I gave this 5 stars. I read it on my Kindle, which I didn't bring in, but I would pop it here if I did. And basically, after bonding over their limb impairments, Win and Bo have a one-night stand, and Win gets pregnant. And I'm pretty sure each chapter is like a month in the pregnancy, and we just watch how their relationship forms from beginning to end. I thought it was a super sweet story. Like, if you want to read a story that's just sickeningly sweet almost, this is the one. I think it was easy to read. It was nice to come back to. I didn't feel like there was a lot of drama in comparison to, you know, some of your rom-com or romance books, but it was like easier to put down at that point, you know, too. So you're not just like trying to gobble it all up. And it was just nice. It was like a nice pace. It was a nice read. Win is very, what is that word? What are words? I didn't write it down. Win's perspective is what you're reading it from, and I think Win is very headstrong. There we go. It's very headstrong. She likes to be independent, and I really admire that for her and can see myself in her as well. And Bo is just the sweetest man. And yeah, I liked that they were able to like talk things out when they needed to talk it out and all that stuff. So yes. The themes of friendship, overcoming loneliness. I just really enjoyed the steady way that these two characters fell in love. So I highly recommend it. And there's another book by this author that just came out, and I really want to read it as well. So hopefully I'll get to do that soon. So funnily enough, I didn't want to do monthly wrap-ups because they were so long to edit. But then I ended up with 2 longer videos because I like too many books and TVs and movie shows. So I don't think I'm going to do quarterly favorites, but I might keep doing this. I don't know how things are going to go. But I also wanted to share with you that I have an Instagram page now where I'm posting like pictures and shorts of these books that I love as well. It's _Snacks&Stacks. So if you're more on Instagram and want kind of more little bites, I guess, of these types of content, please follow me there if you would like. And that is all. Happy reading, happy binging, happy snacking, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.